So it's summer break, and all I do in my free time is scroll TikTok. While scrolling, I always come across these videos where people overcome bad genetics or people are complaining about bad genetics. I really want to debunk, does having good genetics matter? And does hard work overcome bad genetics? So I'll be looking at this from both a bodybuilding standpoint and a non-bodybuilding standpoint, mainly a bodybuilding standpoint though, because that's what most people care about. So the example that I'm going to give with non-bodybuilding is going to be something that I've experienced firsthand and something that I think a lot of other people can relate to, which would have to be an instrument. So I've been playing violin for about 12 years now, and I've worked pretty hard to get where I am. I mean, I'm not the best in the world, but I can hold my own in like All-State or something like that. I was pretty oblivious to the fact that people had good or bad genetics for music and stuff like that, but I was proven very wrong very recently. So, as I said prior, I've been playing for about 12 years, and in my orchestra, or my old orchestra, I guess, my high school orchestra, like the entire first violin section had people who've been playing for like a decade plus. Like they can get into a very good music program, like easily. Like they're very, very talented and hardworking, and I only respect for them. They're crazy good. But there's this one guy. Now, I mean, no hate to this guy. I only have respect for him because of how unbelievably good he is. Now, this guy's been playing for about, when I met him, it was about 3 years, and he demolished, and I mean like destroyed, every single person in that section as a freshman, which is crazy. That is unheard of, how much talent that requires. That is insane. I genuinely did not believe it. I honestly thought he just got lucky. The first time that I heard him play, I was like, man, he's pretty good. He's probably just practices really hard. Maybe been playing for like 10 years before. But when I heard his story, he was a cellist before he was a violinist, right? He switched and instantly became the best. That doesn't happen, right? Like, I've played a cello before. I'm horrible at it. The fact that he was able to switch just like that in 3 years is insane. Like, that guy just dunked on all of my 12 years of practicing in 3. Now that you know what like the difference it is from like an average genetics guy to a very talented top 0.1% genetics person, that's not good grammar. Genetics can impact basically everything. Your bone structure, how wide your shoulders are, how small your waist is, how your fat is distributed, where your muscles insert. If your muscles are, yeah, maybe they insert really well, but they look terrible in proportion to your physique, which is definitely hard to digest how much genetics plays a role in. It's hard to say what percentage of your physique is genetics and hard work, but take someone like Phil Heath, for example. When he was playing basketball, he looked crazy. He has better physique than me. Or someone like Quinton Araya, who made a 1-year transformation natural, and he looks like he's been training his entire life. He looked better in his 1-year transformation than I will likely ever look in my life. How can you tell if you have good or bad genetics? So obviously this vastly depends. This is very broad. Don't take this verbatim. Now, if you have wider shoulders, capped delts, leaner midsection, have a small waist, you can put on muscle pretty easily. If you're just strong in general, if you're athletic, yeah, you have pretty good genetics. With that in mind, it is very difficult to tell for most people if you have good or bad genetics. Now, in the United States, 50% of the people here are obese, and it's very difficult to tell if you have good genetics if it is covered by body fat. You could have very capped shoulders, you could have a very small waist, but it is covered by body fat. Now take me for example. I have pretty average genetics. I'm not crazy. If you see earlier pictures of me, even when I was well into puberty, like freshman year of high school, I was 5'7", 5'8", weighed 90 pounds. It looks like I have horrible genetics. I had very small shoulders, a wider waist, no muscle, unfavorable fat deposits. But now people say I have great genetics because I just lost weight. Before jumping to a conclusion, if you have good or bad genetics, I'd just say just train, right? Like train, eat well, and then after a couple years of hard work, you'll be able to tell if you have good or bad genetics. Because when I started, I thought I had horrible genetics and I made a huge deal out of it. I was like, oh my God, my biceps look weird. Oh my God, my shoulders are narrow. Oh my God, my waist is so big. But later on, all of those things just solved itself just due to training and losing weight. Should you really care if you have good or bad genetics? Now, I'm gonna have to say no. Here's why. For the vast majority of people, you're gonna have average genetics. That's just the definition of average. If you have unfavorable genetics, you can still build a very good physique, good training, diet, nutrition, and if you are really stupid, you can add PEDs into that mixture, and you can build a pretty good physique. I mean, there's tons of people that I know who've gone to the gym with bad genetics and they end up looking pretty good. And in reality, so what if your 10 years of hard work gets demolished by a 1 year of some random dude? No one really cares. No girl's gonna look at you like,
oh, I'm not going out with that guy because he has bad chest insertion.
no one cares. So no, you really should not care. Unless if you're at like a high level of competing, you know, maybe like a step below IFBB Pro or even Olympian stage, you shouldn't really care about your genetics. It doesn't really change much. Your training, diet, sleep should be the same even if you have good or bad genetics. Yeah, maybe for a lesser cause, even though that is complete garbage, you're making the best version of yourself. That's not a bad cause, that's a very good cause in my book. Everything's the same. You both have to suffer to train, to make progress, and some person gets more results than the other. It's not that deep. Like, I have friends who have crazy good genetics, and yeah, some days I envy them. Like, yeah, how dare you have very good shoulders? How dare you have very good arms? It gets on my nerves sometimes, but in reality, it doesn't matter. If you're training and you're working hard, you're making the best version of yourself, and that's what really matters. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Now, don't let bad genetics set you back. You're making the best version of yourself. See ya.